Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Angela Williamson, and I am the author of Effective Treatment and Solution for the Autistic Population. Thank you for joining me this evening. Tonight, we're going to talk about how to teach adolescents or adults with autism, how to handle rebellion or the meltdowns. First of all, I'd like to say, when you work with teenagers or adults with autism, you cannot teach them the same way that you would teach a child that's 5, 4, 2, or 3. It's just not going to work. You cannot treat them like they're a little baby. You cannot give them baby stuff because they are developmentally delayed or they are not at the appropriate age level. This will cause children to rebel. First, what you have to do is figure out why the individual autism is rebelling. Are you giving the adolescent or adult choices? For example, do you allow them to pick out what they want to wear in the morning? Do you show them how to pick out what they want to wear in the morning? Do you offer them choices in what they like to eat for dinner? Do you allow them choices in activities? Although this is very important when children with autism get older and as adults, it is also very good to give this children when they are younger. However, the older population, they must be given some type of say in their life. If you do not give these children or adults some type of say, you will see rebellion. You will see resistance. You will see outbursts. Another thing, do not make them try to do anything. I know a lot of teachers in some programs would tell parents, well, make them do it. That is not always effective. You should try to motivate them into doing things. When I say by motivating, is by cheering them on, like, well, try this, you can do it. It's how you talk to them. It's the delivery in the method when they get much older. Unfortunately, a lot of professionals and even some doctors, they would try to use this control or I'm going to change you method, which actually backfires. Okay, you may try to do that with a child when they're younger, and you may get some progress, but most likely when a child gets older or they become an adult, they are not trying to have it. And this is why a lot of professionals or doctors, they may say, oh, but once a child turns a certain age, it's too late to help them. This is not true. It is far from the truth. I actually had a young woman at the age, I think she's probably in her 30s now, or maybe in her 40s, but she read one of my articles and she sent me an email saying that she liked my articles, she agreed with everything that I was saying, all the steps, and that she had autism, and she overcame autism at the age of 26. So there's always hope. There's always possibilities. However, don't focus on curing your child. Accept the individual for who they are. When teaching them, when motivating them, try to find out what interests them. For example, if a young adult loves music, find out what type of music they like, take them to the store, have them pick out the music they want to, enjoy. Teach them how to, purchase products through picking out their music. Teach them reading through reading lyrics of their favorite songs. And then you can break it off, or you can move it to another area of a book. Okay? Another thing is, when you have adults or individual autism, do not stick with teaching them at the elementary level. What you can do, you can expose them to age-appropriate material like books. For example, if you have a teenager with autism that's 18, 19, or maybe 15 or maybe 14, and say you want to, even though they really can't read, or even if they're not even if they're not verbal, what you can do, say if you want to read a book called Frederick Douglass, A Narrative Life of Frederick Douglass, and your child is not at that age where they can read by themselves, but you want to expose them to that type of literature, there's many ways you can modify it where they can understand. You can have them listen to that book on CD where they can listen, and you can have them follow along, showing them the words in the book, regardless of their ability, and that's exposing them to a higher, exposing them to age-appropriate stuff. You can show them some math problems and break part of it down, or give them a simple problem and break it down. You can show them a video of how to do the math problem, even though they may not get the concept of, they may not master addition and subtraction. You can show them that, like say, for example, you want to show them algebra. You can show them algebra problem and show them the addition or the subtraction or the multiplication, however the steps are within that algebra problem. Now, they may not get it right, but you're exposing them to age appropriate. You can have them watch videos. Then you can show them how to write on a sheet of paper. One good website that really breaks the videos down is called Khan Academy. .com or .org. They have excellent, videos, and I even tell children, that are learning disabled and children that are, typical developing, that are adolescents or even adults, they can go to this website and just watch the videos, and it breaks it step by step, and then you can have them try to do some of the problems on the computer. And this website, if they get it wrong, it will walk them by the steps. So that's a couple of methods of showing them. Another thing is, but first, like I said before, you want to, say if you want to get a child to read, and this is this example, like if you have a child that loves music, say the child loves Pink or something, what you can do, play a song of Pink that does not have any cursing in it. You can't get it where it's clean. Play a certain song. Look up the lyrics, print it out on a sheet of paper. Have the child read the lyrics and listen to the music. That's how you get a child involved in reading. And then you slowly pull it off to different genres. Then you slowly pull it off. Okay, well, since you did this, let me introduce you to a book of Frederick Douglass, the Narrative Life of Frederick Douglass. Have them listen to on CD. There's another software called Kurzweil 3000 or 2000, where they can get a book on CD and it will read it to their level. So actually they're not stuck at a kindergarten level, but you brought them up to an age-appropriate level, but you're breaking it down to where they understand. Another thing is you can have different topics for each subject. For example, social studies. They can learn at the high school. They can learn, say if you want to learn about, Say you want to learn about women's rights, you can take them to the museum, to a museum that that show women artists. Say if they like art, and you want to teach them social studies, and you want to teach them about women's rights, you can take them to a museum that have paintings of different type of women that broke into the art area, or you can take them to a museum, a science museum, or a natural history museum, and you can show different women that would participate in science. That's if they're into, like if they want to see, art of the moon, stars, and stuff like that, or anything that interests them and that you can connect it to social studies or science. That's a good start. Like art, you can go through a colorful book, and it has different, teaches science of, of the body. That would be a way of introducing that subject to them if they like art. Or, for example, say if your child likes to cook, instead of keeping them at a childlike level, okay, goes in a pot, you can teach them, for example, when you add egg to a recipe, or when you add baking soda, how these ingredients cause the food, to bring it together to make it, thick, or how does it cause it to rise. And you can teach them that way, science, through food, or you can teach them, I'm trying to think, like if you show them food coloring, how this changes colors. There's so many creative ways you can work with them. You can work with them, like I'm trying to think of something at the top of my head, with food, nutrition. If you want to teach them, that's part of biology. Teach them how to take care of the body, so you can work with nutrition. Like, what are your food groups? Your vegetables, your fruits. What kind of, and this is for the children that love, like, cooking, or that loves, preparing food. What are your nutrition groups? What do fruits do for your body? What are the vitamins? How they help maintain and keep your body healthy. You can also, for social studies, and saying like that they like food, you can talk about, I'm trying to think, you had, like the FDA, how did the FDA get started in America, and you can talk about, once upon a time in New York City, when they had milk. People put anything and everything in milk, and then they came over with the agency FDA, Food and Drug Administration, to protect people, to label, where it became law, we have to label ingredients, and that will be connecting to history, and then you can talk about, there was a book, I think by Uptown Sinclair, he's talking about how he went into these different types of factories where they made sausages, and that some of the workers, they put anything and everything in it, and they came up with these types of laws where you have to list the ingredients. That connect with social studies. You can also, now this is not for food, but there's many other things you can do. You can also connect food through different cultures. So if you have a child that likes food, you can teach them in that way. Not only that, what you can do, if you have a child, let's say if you have a child that loves math, that loves, that loves numbers, you can tie it, the numbers, because numbers just about everywhere. You can tie numbers with history, like who was the famous mathematician, how they get started, or you can teach them about Einstein, how he was good in math, stuff like that. There's so many things you can tie it. Now, getting back to a child that likes food, you can also do a little science on how do they make cookware, where did, stainless steel come from, how do they make it, a little chemistry, like, when you take metals, or say if a child is into say if a child's into dancing, you can tie that with music. You can tie music with reading, or you can have them create dance moves, and that will help them with motor planning. Have them create dance moves. It'll help them with motor planning. It'll help them with their sensory issues too. And when they create dance moves, you can have them write about it. You can, even if they not writing, you can have them hand over hand, or whatever the occupational therapists show you how to get them started with writing. So there's so many ways. You can talk about dancing. You can get books on dancing. You can take them, depending on if your child is able to handle a lot of crowds, you can take them to a ballet. That's if your child's able to handle a crowd and that is able to, keep quiet during ballet. If not, you can get a ballet on DVD and show them at home, and they can write about it. Or they can read books on ballet. That's if they like it. And then you can branch it off to other stuff. Like you can do a math equation on ballet. Like how long does it take a performer to make a word problem out of ballet, and then have them do math, and you can make it in algebra form. There's so many ways you can take an interest of what the child likes and branch it off to other subjects. This is very effective in dealing with adolescents and adults by going with the interest that they like and taking it and making a lesson out of it. I remember this one child that have autism. She loves to play with plastic bottles. You can have so many different types of lessons just off a plastic bottle. You can teach the child science. How is the plastic bottle made? Where do plastic come from? How do they mold and create a plastic bottle? You can also, with another thing with science, water. What do they put inside the plastic bottle? Is it water? What type of water is it? Is it, they have the spring water. Where do spring water come from? And you can tell them it comes from, wherever location they are. Or is it tap water that has been treated? And go to a whole nother lesson, how is tap water treated? What is used to clean, or how does the city use a clean tap water? Then you can talk about different stuff that's in the tap water, like fluoride, and you can have them. You see how I'm spinning off with this and just going to another lesson to another lesson? Another thing you can do, say if your child, and the child is adolescent or adult, and say they have very limited verbal skills. What you can do, say, for example, all your child is just saying apple. Say your child, that's all the word your child can say is apple. Okay, how are we going to build that language up without having a child, keeping a child at an elementary level? And how to get that child to express itself. Sometimes a lot of adolescents and adults that get frustrated because they can't really express themselves. They can't really express their needs, their wants, or their preference. What you can do, you can take apple and you can connect it to other words. For example, say if they say apple. Okay, what is an apple? And they keep saying apple. Yes, but can you tell me what an apple is? That's when you try to build it out. Where do apples come from? They come from trees. Why do apples grow on trees? And you can make a whole lesson out of that. You can get books on apples that's more age appropriate. You can show videos. You can engage talking, okay? When you walk in the park, what do you see when you walk in the park? You see trees, and apples come from trees. What is an apple? Apple is a piece of fruit. You keep building on that language, and if they keep saying, well, I want an apple all day, and that's all they know how to say, you thank them. Some people, they get mad. Oh, okay, this kid is getting on my nerves because all she keeps saying is apple, apple all day. Praise them for communicating with you. Celebrate for them even initiating a contact with you. This is very important. Get them to love language. If they say apple, say thank you for letting me know you want apple. And then you spin it off. What is an apple? Where do an apple come from? You can actually get an apple, cut it up, and give them an apple. You can look at the seeds. Say, oh, you take the seeds, we can plant them in, and you build the words up. This is seeds. Can you say seeds? Seeds. And when you teach them language, a lot of teachers like, well, say seeds, seed, 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 seed. Say. I mean, that, because you imagine someone talking to you and communicating to you like that, tell you the truth, that is really annoying. I would want to shut down and don't listen to you. But if you say it more humanely and more inviting and like, oh, this is seeds. Can you say seeds? These are seeds in an apple. These are seeds in an apple. And you take these seeds and you plant them in the ground, you can grow a tree. And then they learn seeds, they learn apples, and then you can branch it off to how they feel. You know, are they happy? That's another thing is when they have meltdowns and rebellions, teach them how to express themselves. You can teach them emotions. Okay, are you angry? Why are you angry? And this is when you want to utilize a lot of critical thinking. Have them think it out. Have them talk it out. Why are you angry? Say if the child is angry, they're unable to express yourself, so they take a shoe and throw it across the room. Okay, depending on how you act. If you're screaming and yelling, and that's another thing you should not do. You should not scream. You should not yell. You should not be short-tempered. Be calm and have them express themselves. If they cannot talk, you can have them. If they have no verbal skills, you can put it on little cards and build it up. Or you can say, are you angry? And get them to say, like, I am angry. If they say an apple or they say some words, I am angry. Tell them, teacher, I am angry. Are you angry? Then why are you angry? You build it up. Now, this could take some time, but you be consistent at it, and you learn from the child. The individual with autism are your best teachers. This is how I learned to get my daughter to talk. I got her to talk, and I actually got other children with autism to talk. You learn from them. Let them guide you and lead you. A lot of behavioral therapists, a lot of teachers will come and say, well, I'm going to teach you. I'm going to show you. Okay? You can do all that fine and dandy, but the individual autism is just going to shut you out. And if you bother them, they will rebel. So learn from them. Are you angry? Get them to express themselves. Why are you angry? I remember my daughter, she was upset, and she just was like just resisting everything. And I had to use a critical thinking. Are you upset? And she said, yeah, she was upset, and I had to walk her through, okay, why are you upset? And come to find out is that she was upset because she was promised to go to the store, and she didn't go to the store. So that carried over the next day, and she was very upset, but she could not express it, so she would just shut down. So sometimes going through critical thinking, having them think, walking it through, talking to them, getting them to express themselves, and a lot of method that really works well is the floor time with this one. The floor time is about them connecting with you and building and establishing a relationship. That's how you build a relationship. Could you imagine if someone's like, okay, why are you upset? That means you care. Okay, let's walk through why you're upset. And then they're able to express themselves. And then if they're happy, you can say, oh, you are happy. You're smiling. You're upbeat. You're happy. You're happy. Why are you happy? Are you happy because you listen to your favorite song? And this is how you can tell what they like and what they don't like. Another thing is when you're dealing with adolescents especially, you have to have a non-judgmental attitude, and you have to give them some kind of leeway. Like, for example, if you've been working with a child and they start to rebel, teach them, I want to take a break. I'm overwhelmed. Teach them how to communicate. Well, I want to take a break. I'm overwhelmed. Replace that, get upset and, like, throwing something across the room, because you have some children that are teenager, if you're working with certain activities, they may have a short attention span, or they may get frustrated and they start throwing stuff across the room, and then you stop, okay, then you just taught them, you're teaching them that, okay, if I don't want to do something, I would take something and throw it across the room. Now what you can do, you can replace that with either communicating verbally, if they have some kind of verbal skills and they talk, even if they say one word, you can teach them verbally, bring it out of them. If they have no verbal skills, the PECs I like and I don't like. You can teach them how to write their feelings down. You can teach them, which is the rapid prompting method. Teach them how they write their feelings. How do they feel? Now, if you use the PECs, you can use the PECs if they have absolutely no language skills. I mean, they're not saying anything. Okay, the PECs would be all right. You can have words with the PECs. Or some people even use sign language. Now, sign language is like a whole other thing you have to learn. But you can teach them how to write their feelings down, how to express themselves. And that's very important to give individuals with adolescents and adults a way to express themselves. If they're tired, say like if you worked on, say you're trying to teach them self-care skills, or say you're trying to teach them a particular lesson, and say you only worked on it for 2 minutes and all of a sudden they like just tired and ready to go, teach them how to tell you, I want a break, I need a break. And let them walk around, or you can move around with them. See, a lot of people, a lot of teachers, they will stick to one method. They'll stick to the visual or auditory teaching style. There are several different types of teaching styles. You have to find which one your child is. If your child likes to move around, or their child's all over the place, that's how that child's brain is working. That's how that child learns. Move with them. Okay? If they get up and walk with them. And so, where are we walking to? And then, try to keep that direct eye contact. Where are we going? You're walking, or continue the lesson. Oh. And then when they turn around, wait, give them, and then when you get the eye contact, you celebrate. Oh, you looked at me. Oh, okay, I like it when you looked at me. Thank you. And then you get the lesson because you're getting that eye contact. When they stop, you stop. And this is when the sunlights come in. If they start spinning the dish, you start spinning the dish with them. And then when you start giving the eye contact, then you continue with the lesson. Now, you have some children, they will turn their backs on you. What you can do, you're in a space. Give them space. Don't force them to look at them. You can give them space, and if they're doing something, you can do it within a distance and still get that eye contact. So you have to learn on the learning style of your child. Now, there's some children with autism, they are visual learners. So if your child's a visual learner, videos, pictures, you put everything in pictures. Like I said, if they like art, you can do math and art. You can show them videos, very artistic videos, colorful videos. That's if they don't have the visual, perceptual dysfunction where they can't tolerate a lot of visual input. then they might be the kind of person, they're on the move. You move with them. Or what you can do, say if your child likes to go to the library, you can pick out what book, have the child pick out what books they like, and say if you don't know if the child like any books, put several books down and introduce them to different genres until you find out something that they like. If they like a particular, say if they like a particular movie star, you can get a book, a color book, a book to have a lot of pictures on that particular movie star. Or say if they like, for example, there's a singer they like Michael Jackson, you can kind of get a book at the library where it has photo colors of Michael Jackson and words. It's age appropriate because Michael Jackson, well, everybody likes Michael Jackson. It's age appropriate, and then you can spin it off with watching a movie. And then from the movie, you can teach them right about what they saw in the movie, and you can guide them. Another thing, when teaching individuals with autism reading skills, you can do guided reading. That means if you get a book, even if you get a book that's age appropriate, you can read and then you can have them repeat the words with you. That is guided reading. And then you slowly teach them how to do the words on their own. That's how you build up their reading skills. And then you can take it and they can listen to it on a CD and follow along. And you gradually, say for example, if you start reading a book and your child only did for 1 minute, okay, that's okay. You build it up where they can do for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, until it's tolerable. So if they get up, you take the book and you move with them. And then you show them the book, but don't force them, like, oh, look at me, stop. Don't do none of that. Just say, oh, I see we walking. Take the book. And when they give you the eye contact, show them the book. What is this word? This word is, teach them vocabulary. This word is savior, or this word is liberator. And then you can just break it down. So your child, but then learn from your child. See which one method is motivating, which one will work. Or you can do a trade-off. Say if your child wants to go to the park, and it's like your child is not going to do anything until he or she goes to the park. I mean, she is not trying to negotiate. She wants to go to the park, but you want to help the child with his homework. Or you want to work on a child writing skills. What you can do a trade-off. Say, look, hey, we work on writing skills for 15 minutes, and then we will go to the park for 15 minutes. Or we go to the park. Let's do this first. We're going to do the writing first. You can do sequence of events. And a lot of people don't know if a child or individual, especially adolescents and adults with autism, if they gun-ho on doing something, they want to do it. It's like they're not trying to hear it. So then that's when you do the sequence of events. First, we will do this, and when we complete this, and you do it and you're well behaved, we will go to the park. And if they get agitated and say, well, sometimes it's about control. It could be a control thing. Say, look, all you have to do, calm down. I'm waiting for you to be calm. As soon as you calm down and we finish doing the writing, we can go to the park. And you say it in a soft, inviting voice. And if that individual autism is sitting down and they're calm, you focus all of your attention on them being calm. You praise them. Oh, you are doing a wonderful job. Oh, my God, look at her. She is so calm, and she's sitting so well. And if they're acting out, pay less attention if they're not hurting themselves. So this is going to be a tricky. If they're acting out to rebel and get your attention because they don't, try not to focus on that and try not to play on that, because the more you focus on it, the more they rebel. You just say, well, I will wait. When we calm ourselves down, then we're going to do this for 10 minutes, and then we will go to the park. But first, we have to calm ourselves down. And sometimes they will look at you like, okay, she's not going off on me. And then when they start to calm, you praise them. I see you calmed. Oh, my gosh, she's sitting so well. Excellent job. Because you're focusing and you praise them. You've given that attention on the behavior that you want to see. And the behaviors you want to see, you should also model. So a lot of people yell, stop doing that. Sit down and pay attention. How can you expect for the individual with autism to sit down and be calm when you're not calm? So you have to be calm yourself. You have to demonstrate that. Not only that, when you're calm, you set a tone. I don't know a lot of parents are familiar with, tone, but when you're teaching in a classroom, when the principal or, the higher-ups come in, it's like, I like the tone of your classroom. That means when you set a tone, you set, if you're in a peaceful, you set peace within the classroom. And then it becomes more productive and the children are learning. So you show them that, and you focus on, if they're trying, you focus on every minute that they're behaving. And if they have to get up and move and they're not rebelling, allow them to move and move with them. Even if you have to take the paper and write, you can have them, if you're teaching them to write on the table, you can teach them to write, but they get up and want to walk around, you can have them stand, get you an easel where the artist used to paint, put the paper up there and have them write on the easel. And if they walk around and they stop, if you have to put it on the wall, have them write on the wall until you can get them to sit down and start writing because you're moving along. Some children, their bodies have to move. So depending on the learning style, you can use different. One particular program that I really like is the Sunlight. Not the Sunlight. It's a writing program called Handwriting Without Tears. I love this program because it really teaches the children how to write in this multi-sensory where, for example, you can teach them how to write with pencil and paper. Then you can take their finger and have them trace the letters. Or you can have a small little chalkboard with chalk and have them write on that. Then you can take a paintbrush, have them dip it in some water, and have them paint out the letters. Just so many different things. You can take Play-Doh, and roll it out with their fingers because you're working with their fine motor skills, and have them make letters out of Play-Doh. You can have them paint letters. They have where they can do cursive, or they can do just plain printing. Not only that, then you can just have them spell words, different types of words that's age-appropriate, vocabulary words, or words from whatever lesson. Say if you was doing an art lesson, you can take vocabulary from your art lesson and incorporate it in the handwriting. So that's what I'm saying. There's so many things you can do. I'm going to give you one example, like I said, with the water bottle. Like you can teach a child to write about the water bottle. After you teach them, have them write. You can start off hand over hand, whatever program you're working with. You can have them paint the words about the water bottle. You can teach them vocabulary words. If you want to teach them, instead of going to say, have them use dictionary. There's an electronic dictionary you can use. Say if you got your child to write and they want to spell words, but using a regular dictionary frustrates them, you can get them an electronic dictionary where they can type in certain words and it'll pick up, or they can speak and it will show them the words, how to spell it. Or you can go on a computer and go to dictionary.com where they can look at the words, or I think, is it Merriam? It's another website, another dictionary website, I think Merriam or Webster. You can go on and they can actually hit the punctuation and learn how to spell it and say it. So there's so many ways you can teach them and modify the program where they can understand it. You can take it from a high school level Like I said, if you want them to read a book, Frederick Douglass, I said if you want to read a book, The Grapes of Wrath, and bring it down to their level. You can have them open a book and they can listen on the CD and follow along in the book as much as they can, and you build it up. Then you take certain words and have them write it. Otherwise, and you're teaching them skills. You can break it down where it's like simple, but it's at a high school level. You can get different software. I mean, there's so many things you can do. You can go to the library, pick out books. With the Grapes of Wrath, you can spin that off in so many different lessons. You can do social studies lesson on that. You can do English language, art on that. You can even have them draw a picture. Again, if they like art, you can draw a picture of the characters from the book. Then, if they like movies, you can show them the movies, The Grapes of Wrath. You see how I did a whole bunch of different lessons just from taking an interest of the child. If your child, say if your child likes shoes. I know this one child, he loves shoes. He loves taking his mother's shoes and lining them up. You can do a whole bunch of lessons with that. You can teach him how to count the shoes. You teach him different types of colors of shoes. Okay, this shoe is red. Where does red come? You can teach them the primary colors. You can teach, if you mix colors up, you can create different types of colors. Then you can go on a whole thing of science with that. How are shoes made? What type of material this shoe is made from? Then you can go on a math with the shoes. Well, how much, say if his mother went shoe shopping, she took the child with her. And the child's like, okay, which shoe you think I should wear? Or what shoes you like to wear? How much does that shoe cost? Teach them math problems. Okay, this shoe costs this much. And you show them, like, I'm going to give the cashier this much. Adding, subtracting. You can even make that into an algebra problem. You can say, okay, say the children wants 10 shoes. And say that, how many hours mommy will have to work to buy 10 pairs of shoes. You can do that in an algebra problem. Now, you see, I took that and just spin it off in different lessons. You can even get books about shoes. You can even do histories about shoes. You can go to histories long time ago when they didn't have the machines to make the shoes. That's history. And this is why the shoes were so expensive a long time ago, because, they were either handmade, and then when they got the machines, they became affordable. We could do a whole lesson on shoes. Okay, why do we wear shoes? What types of shoes? You can even spin it off into weather. Well, these shoes, you wear these shoes when it's hot. You wear these shoes when it's cold. Then you can branch it off. Then when you get some interest into weather, then you can slowly pull away from the shoes and teach them about the water cycle, or teach them about different types of weather. Teach them the season. And this is how you can spin off just from that one interest of shoes. Look how many different levels I spinned off on that. And then you have them have a choice. Say, for example, the child doesn't want to read in the morning time. Say the child wants to do art. Then you have them have a choice. What activity you want to do first? They can do art, and then say that child can want to do art, then they want to read. That could be a sensory issue. If they want to do finger painting art because they put their hands in the paint, that could be soothing to them. Another thing why a lot of individuals with autism might rebel too, it could be the hormones. Hormones, you have to make sure, are they eating properly? Are they eating right? Are they getting all the nutrients? If your child is breaking out, you have to look for food allergies. Are they eating too much carbs? Are they eating too much things with sugar in it? Are they getting enough omega? If your child has ADHD, that is usually from dyes in the food, sugar. The Fingo protocol is very good for ADHD. The fake stuff that's in the food now, once you eliminate that and get them wholesome, real organic food, the omega-3s in their body, such as, cod liver oil, it could be numerous of things. So dietary, nutritional. If you have a young lady and she's on her menstrual cycle, that can lead to rebellion, PMS. One thing I found about that, if you treat their body holistically, make sure they get the proper nutrition, make sure they have enough potassium, enough calcium with magnesium, that usually tapers off the PMS. When you get their hormones in balance through nutrition. Another thing is is a child getting enough exercise? If the child is not getting enough exercise, that could lead to rebellion. Is the child sitting down too much? I mean, because technically me, on my break, I have to go out and walk. And when we look at individual autism, they have to do certain things to calm themselves down. But if you look at people, all of us do something to calm ourselves down. Sometimes if you're working at a computer all day, you may need to get up and take a break, walk around and come back, or they get enough exercise. And this was one kid, he would rebel and had a lot of anger and behavioral issues, and that's because he wasn't getting enough exercise. Even sometimes my daughter, sometimes she would get upset, and that's why, okay, I got to take her out, and we got to go to the park, and she would run because that relieves stress that she got an energy bottle up in her, or walking. So the best way to deal with that is to learn from your child to see if your child needs being met. Another thing could be sensory, it could be vision problem, where they might need glasses for 20/20 and they don't have 20/20 vision, or even if they have 20/20 vision, they have perceptual dysfunction where they need vision therapy to work with their visual system. So it could be numerous of things. Once you target it, an individual with autism or adult, or the adolescent with autism or the adult, a lot of the problems will alleviate, a lot of it. And if they're upset about something and you're doing everything you can, then you have to look further. What is going on at the school? All people that's working with your child, are they doing the same thing you're doing? Or if they don't have problems, can they teach you what they're doing if it's positive? If it's positive and it's not controlling. And this is the number one issue, and problems with adolescents and adults is control. I mean, think about it. We adults, you like someone telling you what to do? No. So think about the individual autism. They don't like other people telling them what to do. So this is why they rebel or have meltdowns. The meltdowns, you have to determine if that's a meltdown or a tantrum. For example, if your child's walking or a sensory issue, you have to learn the difference between all three. If a child's walking down the street and start to scream, okay, is that a sensory issue? Is there something bothering a child where they're having a sensory overload and they can't take it and they have to scream? Or are they screaming is because they're rebelling because they can't express what they want and their needs haven't been met? Now, I have caught that with my daughter. Once I said, "Oh, are you okay? Is everything okay? Are you?" And then she starts laughing. Then that's when I know it's a rebellion. Now she's screaming and she's not laughing, and I know if there's noise or something, that's a sensory overload. So you have to know the difference between the two. If it's a form of rebellion, then we have to work on communication. Have her communicate it in another way. Have her tell me, okay, I want to do this, instead of screaming. Because when you scream, I let her know, when you scream, I don't understand what you want. I mean, if you scream, I'm going to think you're hurt, and you're not going to get what you want. And then you talk to them. Then you teach them, do you want to go this? You give them choices. And then you teach them, well, what do you want to do? You want to go to the park? And find out she wanted to go to the park. But we had to go to the store. And I said, oh, First, then I had to do the sequencing. First, we're going to go to the store, and then we're going to go to the park. And then she starts smiling and getting all happy and became fully cooperative. So sometimes you have to do a sequence. First, we're going to do this first. You have to walk them step by step. I remember this one kid, when he wake up in the morning time, his mother told me he will always want his breakfast. And he will rebel. He's a teenager. He will rebel. Because when he wake up, he has to have his breakfast. Teach him the steps. First, we're going to use the bathroom. Then you're going to, wash up. Walk him through the steps. And I told her that. She said that eliminated the rebellion, that eliminated his need to eat breakfast right away, because he could put it in sequence that before I eat breakfast, I'm going to get dressed, and then I'll eat breakfast. He thought if he didn't get up to eat breakfast right away, he wasn't going to get breakfast at all. So when she walked him through the sequence, first, you're going to go use the bathroom. Then you're going to wash up. You're going to wash your body. Then you're going to get dressed. And after when you get dressed, then we're going to eat breakfast. And you can tell them, then you can teach them the time. So you can make a whole lesson out of that. Then you can teach them the time. You get up at this time, and this is why a lot of individual autism, they freak out, because they don't know when they're going to get, whatever they desire, they don't know when they're going to get it. And it's hard for them to express them. So when you walk it through the steps or sequence and you explain, and say, oh, okay, you will have this later. You will get this at 5 o'clock. My daughter, she'll wake up and she has to go to school, and she's like, I want to go to the store. And I was like, yeah, you can go to the store, sure. You go to the store first. You're going to hop on the bus. Then you're going to go to the school, do your lesson through the school, and then when you come home from school, you're going to hop on the bus, and then you hop on the bus, you're going to go use the bathroom, and then we're going to go to the store. And then I have the teachers do the same thing. If she, asks for, well, I want this, when you get home, we're going to do this first. And she'll just flow with the day, and she won't ever ask for it again, because she knows that when she get home, I'm going to take her to the store. And then I have to follow that up by actually taking her to the store. And that's how, you have ease up on rebellion and meltdowns. If you have any questions, *6, and I'll be happy to take questions if you have questions. But this is how you eliminate the rebellion. Now, rebellion, they're going to rebel. Even everyone knows, typical teenagers, they rebel. You're going to see the same thing sometimes in autism. They go through their little stages. Is how you work them through their stages. You have to be proactive instead of reactive. You have to walk them through the steps. Like, for example, there's another gentleman, before his daughter goes to sleep, she have all of her dolls. I think she has 12 dolls, and they have different names. All 12 dolls must be in her room, in her bed. One doll, was actually missing. So she had a meltdown. I think the doll name was Pineapple or something. She was going to have a meltdown. Oh, I can't sleep. Oh, my dolls. She was literally having a meltdown where she was knocking down stuff. Just going into a rage. He had to use the steps from the sunrise. He calmed himself out. He said, okay, well, let's calm down. Let's get focused. When was the last time you had pineapple? And also using critical thinking, you have them thinking. And then she said, oh, maybe I left it in the car. Okay, let's go outside and look for pineapple in the car. And then when he went to the car, and she said, oh, there's pineapple. Oh, okay, you left it in the car. And he said he had to grow from that, because before he was like, oh, are you happy? You had me out here at night going in the car, make me looking for a doggone doll so you can go to sleep. And then she learned, oh, that's what gets him upset. So if I push his button, if I don't have my way, I push his button, I'll make him mad. but he learned how to be more proactive. Oh, there go pineapple. Grab pineapple, and we can all go to sleep. Now you have all 12 of your dogs to go to bed. And it got to the point where she didn't really need the dogs anymore. So, as I said, your child is your best teacher. When they get older, you can't do that stuff. I'm going to make you, and I'm going to teach you, I'm going to do all that crazy stuff. Motivate them. Motivate. And another thing, adults, adolescents and adults with autism, when they get older and they're in school, they have to go through the transitioning skills. Now I'm going to touch upon this before, I end the conference call. That's another thing is you have to find what interests them to get them whatever occupation they want to. Do not train, and I tell a lot of teachers and other personnel, don't train them based on their skill level. That sucks. Could you imagine if they're going to graduate high school, well, if you already have a high school diploma, you're going to work at McDonald's or something. That's crazy. Instead of basing on their interests, like for example, when you grow up, are you out of high school, you go to school that interests you. Well, I want to be an artist. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a teacher. You're going to do the same thing with individual autism. Take what interests them, and what you can do, depending on the school, or you can do it yourself. You can, like, say, for example, if the child likes clothes. Say if the child is obsessed with, material and they love clothing, you can have them work in a store, or you have them work in a fabric intern. Not only work, but intern in a fabric shop where they help with the fabric. They help cutting if they like cutting, and it can lead into where they can sew and make clothes. That's an interest. So if they like fabric, they have them work in a fabric shop, or work them at a school, intern in a fashion school where they work with fabric and help students. Or if you have a child or adolescent adult that's interested in art, they can do intern at a college, work in the art room, learning how to paint, learning art. If they have an interest in trains, subways, buses, you can have them take an interest and work with, transportation. You have different agencies when they get older that will help work in these types of settings. But it's based on the child's interest. If you have a child that's interested in computers, they can work with an agency or company to hire individuals with disabilities to work on computers. Whatever interests the child. Say if the child, say if this child is still interested in plastic bottles, they can work in a factory where they make plastic bottles. They can learn, how they make them. They can do that for a living if they like. Look, that's their interest. They love plastic bottles. They want to know how plastic bottles, they can work in something like that. They can take it to another level and, learn how to work the machineries, or they can learn how the chemicals of actually making plastic bottles, of how putting them together, chemistry. They can learn, there's so many stuff they can do based on the interest. If a child likes food and they interested in different types of dishes, and they can intern at a restaurant, or they can intern at a cooking school, or they can intern, at a school helping preparing food for kids, or helping preparing food for adults, or the school that they go to, they can actually work in the kitchen and help prepare other children's lunches. There's so many things you can do with that transitional goal to transition them to transition them to adulthood. So you can work on that when they're a teenager. Not that if your child's in school and your child is 14, 13, 12, 14, around middle school, that is a good time to take an inventory of the child's interests. What are their interests? And you can build it off for their transitional goals. Keep teaching them academics. In other schools, which I don't like, they figure the child is 16. Let me stop teaching them academic and just work on transitional goals only. No, I don't like that. You can split it up where you work on the academics goal either in the afternoon and then you work on transitional goals in the morning, or you work on the academic stuff in the morning and then you work on transitional goals. The academic can also be tied in with his transitioning. Like I said before, if you have a kid that likes bottles, you're going to do a whole lesson on bottles, write about bottles, and then you can spin it off to other stuff where you can grab his interest in other stuff and you can eliminate the bottles from the academic. Then you can have them work on the factory and help out learning how to put bottles together, internship, if they're interested in it. If that's their interest and that's what they enjoy doing, you can do it like that. So this will eliminate a lot of meltdowns and rebellion. Another thing is take them shopping. Have them pick out what clothes they want. Even if they not really able to verbalize, you can put 3 shirts. Okay, which shirt you like? Would it be this one, and have them point to it. Even if they could do that, you still let them have a choice and let them have a say in their life. Okay, put out 3 pairs. Which pants you want to have? And then slowly teach them how to pick out their own clothes and match it and get dressed. And then when they finish that, what breakfast you want. Give them choices. Say if you have waffle, you have cereal, you have omelets. Now, you got some that might want all 3. But have them have a choice. What breakfast you want in the morning? What do you want to drink? Do you want orange juice? Do you want the apple juice? Or do you want water? Or do you want vitamin water? What kind of fruit you want? A lot of people, when they deal with adolescents, they will always keep picking. Oh, let me give her the apple. Let me give her the pear. Let me give her the pineapple. You can't do that. You have to have them then you have to have them give them choice. This is where they will lead to rebellion. Well, I'm going to end this conference call. I'd like to thank everybody for joining me tonight. This conference call, again, was sponsored by Effective Treatment and Solutions for the Autistic Population. It is available if you're in New York City, it is available at Sisters Uptown Bookstore, 1942 Amsterdam Avenue at 156th Street. Or you can get on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, stores where books are sold, or online retail store. Thank you, and may everybody have a blessed day.